Today we'll discuss about data transforms, and I think yesterday we just seen one example. We'll see one more example and we'll see what are the capabilities.
Okay, so I have one query, Subhash, before starting the classes.
Yep.
Databases, moreover, so we will use to populate the drop down, or else uh, so
We cannot
what?
conclude like that. It's only used for, there is multi-purpose for that. We can use that for the popular because the list control is returning some results only, so we can use that as a sourcing for the list controls. Maybe drop down, it may be autocomplete. That is one reason, and you can also
Mhm.
use to store the data. Most of the times, I mean, as I said, 90% of the times will be used for that purpose only to give as a source for the list controls. It's not only drop down, it may be autocomplete. Sometimes it may be a, what we call data buttons as well. That is
Okay.
true. Not always.
So apart from that, list controls, drop downs, where the databases will be useful.
So if you want to, let's say, if you are doing in the business logic also, you can use that. So I have list of, I want to get some list of results from the data from the database or somewhere, and I want to from UI I want to check whether this is available in the list or not. So in that case, we don't use that in the as a source, but we'll use that as to but that is a data will be there, but we'll just search that. Let's say I want to search whether customer is there in the in the list. So what I will get the data from the database and store it in the data pages, and then whatever I want to search, I will search in the data page. Here I'm not using data page as a source, but to search to I'm using it for the as a system of record to store, I mean to maintain the data. Okay, for that purpose also we will use that one.
Okay.
And moreover, that is one of the list data page. You are talking about one list data page. We are also having lookup data page also there. So list data page maybe we may be using for the sourcing the control, but lookup data page we don't use that. We cannot use that for the list controls. That is for just for getting a single record, right? So we cannot use that for the as a source. So in that case, for the for the lookup, definitely we should use it for the getting the data and map it to, I mean, display on the UI or I mean copy the data into page level property.
Okay, Subhash.
Now let's
Subhash, actually report definition is there, right? So to populate the values, can't we directly access report definition without database?
yes, we can. But report definition don't have this refresh strategies. Those things are not
Okay.
there.
Now I got it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got
So
it.
we can do conditional
Yeah,
uh,
filters, so refresh conditions, these all things are there in the database. That's the
within the
purpose.
data and it will not do anything.
Okay, apart from the database, any similar things can we use it in Pega?
No, we cannot. So every rule have their own advantages and disadvantages. Based on the requirement, we need to do the appropriate rule. There won't be any replacement for one rule to other rule. So if you want to
Okay.
use a database, we have some advantages.
Okay.
Use representation, we may miss some features. If that is fine, you can use that one.
Okay. And one more question actually, it's a basic question. So is kind of database means can we treat it as it's a page object?
Yes, it's a page or page list. Both are there,
Yesterday we
right?
see actually page list data pages and what is that
Yes.
lookup or single data pages.
Single
So
database
lookup
means
or single data page means it's kind of a page object, right?
yes, page object. List database means page list
Page
object.
list. Okay, fine.
And now, so yesterday we have seen like once we select the product and once we add the item to the claim, so user can add that item to the claim and we are displaying that list on the UI. So once we click on the button, internally we are calling the data transform and then we are doing that one. So what exactly the data transform? You will see. So data transform will be data model. Let's see if we, so this is the definition, this is standard definition they are giving, like data is, so the main aim of this one is to copy the data from source to target by doing the formatting. So here you can see the data transform to define how to take the data that is in one format and class and turn them into data of another format and class. That means that, I mean, this is high level definition, but actually what is happening is once the data is available on the clipboard, data transforms will work only the data is available. If the data is not available, we cannot get the data using data transforms we can do. But once the data is available on the clipboard means on the memory, so whatever you want to do, like format, it may be formatting, it may be business logic, it may be anything, you can achieve the using data transform. But data transform cannot get the data from some other source and keep it in the clipboard. So by some some other rules will give, for any reason, if the data is available on the clipboard, then you can use data transforms to do anything. So in that case, here in the add to climb, so whenever we are selecting the product, and then you are populating the product information on the screen. That means that the data is already available on the clipboard. So that is why I am able to append that page into some other pages using data transforms. So it may be any functionality you can achieve using data transform. The main aim of data transform is to copy the data, simply saying to copy the data from source to destination by formatting the data. So when I say formatting, it may be, when I say formatting, it's not like doing formatting normal word. It's like formatting means you can do the business logic at a source side. Let's say I want to calculate the full name. So what you can do, full name property, the full name is my destination. So I want to calculate the first name, full name. So what is the general formula? I need to append the first name and last name. That is my formula. That is called formatting. So I am appending the first name and last name of this customer, and then I am copying the data to the full name. So finally I am doing copying only, but before copying I am formatting the data according to my requirement. But first name or last name should be available on the clipboard. Then you can do the formatting of the data and you can do the destination. And the main aim of this while copying, so here the source and the destination may be of same class or different class. Different class, but still the transform will support that one. The source and the destination may be of different classes. So from that means from one class to other class also you can copy the data. So it's no need to be same class. No need to be same class. You can do from different classes. You can copy the data from different class to different class properties using the data transform. Okay, now we will see one by one. So first one is, so you can see this will be like this. First tab is definition. So this definition, in the definition tab we will do what are the actions you want to build. So we call them action. So we have 10 to 15 actions are there. The data transform support 10 to 15 actions. We will see one by one. First action is, so you can see different columns are there here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns are there. First column is the step number, we call it. The one is called step number. That is just for, there is no significance for that in the development. This is for developer convenience, to increase user experience. If we want to explain to others, or if you to make it more user friendly, then the numbering is given so that we can easily identify where we are working at. So if we want to explain to somebody, you can use the step number only. Go to step number 1, step number 2, like that. So we call this as a step number. And one more advantage is there for the step number is, while debugging or using the tracer, so the tracer will give you step-by-step execution. So if you want to trace this data transform, the tracer will give the first step execution, what is happening in the first step, what is happening in the second step, it will give step-by-step execution. So during that time, the tracer will use this step number only. So during those scenarios only we will use the step number, but in the development we don't have any use for the step number. And then the actions. So we have a couple of actions. So what exactly you want to do, based on that you need to choose the action. Action represents the functionality you want to do. The functionality you want to do, you can select the action. So target. Target is where you want to apply this action. You are doing some action where you want to apply this action, that is a target. And then relation is applicable for some actions. So relation is not applicable for some actions. So based on the action, relation is applicable. The source is also applicable for some actions. Source may not be required for some actions, that is also optional. And last one is delete. So first we'll start with set action. So set, as the name indicates, it will just set the value from source to target. It will just set the value from source to target. So set means copy the data from source to target. It will just copy the data. So the target, let's say the target may be a scalar property. The target may be a pages, anything. Let's say I want to customer first name. So the source may be, my target is first name. I want to copy the data from source. The source may be a static value like this. You can do like this, static value. Or else it may be a formula, something like a first name and then appending something. And then it may be some other property. So it may be some other property. The source may be you can do some formatting of the data before copying the data. You can use the static value, constant value, or else you can use some business logic as well to do that one. Let's say for this, what we will do, we'll do an example here. So I am giving anyway first name and last name. I want to display the full name in the next screen. So what I want to do here, so I need to create one data transform, and I need to execute this when I click submit. So we know that this is a flow action. As part of the flow action, we are displaying the UI. So whatever the actions you want to do, you can do that on the flow action only. This is the action. When I click submit, I want to do some action in the back end that is called calculation of first name and last name. So that's what I want to do. So you can go to flow action. Let me go to the corresponding flow action. The action you can see in the flow action, you can see in the action tab there are pre-processing and post-processing. Pre-processing, post-processing. So what is the pre-processing? Before rendering the screen, if you want to do any action, you can do that in the pre-processing. Before rendering the screen, if you want to do anything, you can do in the pre-processing. After rendering the screen, if you want to do anything, you can do in the post-processing. So that means that this is a flow action only. Based on within the flow action, we are defining the section. But before rendering the screen, that means that before displaying the screen, and if you want to do some action, this is useful. Let's say you want to display the city names or some data is there in the database. So I want to display the data as a dropdown in the city, in the state or city here. If I want to display the data, that means that before rendering the screen only, I should make the data available. So I need to do some logic in the pre-processing only. So before rendering the screen, whatever you want to do, you can do in the pre-processing. So once you submit, that is called, once you complete this action, what you want to do, you can do in the post-processing. So here I want to calculate the full name. You can click submit. So here I will say set full name created. It's a very simple example. Customer dot full name. Full name property is the not there. Let's create it again. Customer dot first name. So I'm just concatenating by giving some space. First name and last name. Customer dot last name. Simple. I'm doing some formatting, and I'm doing copying the data to destination. This is called set. So now I am calling this action in the post processing. So here you can call only two rules. One is data transform, one is activity. So here I am calling the data transform in the post processing, and you can check that. So let's click on let me give some data here, test user, and click on submit. If my rule is executed properly, I should see in the clipboard, I should see the memory that is also debugging. I mean, if you are not displaying the data on the UI, so how can you validate your logic? Through the clipboard only. So here I'm calculating the full name in the customer. Let's go to customer. So you can see here, first name is there, last name is there, full name is coming. That means that my logic is working. I'm not capturing the full name. I'm not capturing the full name from the UI. I'm calculating the full name, and you can see it's getting coming. First name we have given, last name is coming. I'm calculating the full name. So for set purpose we can use. For that I'm just copying the data. That is one thing. And then you can use set not only for scalar properties. You can use set for copying the page data as well, page to page. So here you're just copying scalar property. You can also set will be useful to copy the page level property, one page to other page. You can give simply like this. Customer to some other customer is there. You can give that customer name. Customers to customer. You can do. You can also do page list by page list. You can copy page list A to page list B. Let's say this is the page list B, this is the page list A. You just copy it like this. You don't need to loop it and you need to do one by one. You can just set it. Page list A, page list B, source page list, destination page list, give like this, and then automatically all the data will be copied. So the set is basically will be useful to copy the data of the scalar properties, to copy these page properties, to copy the page list properties. Okay, you can do other things here. And then remove. So for remove you can see the relational source is not required. Remove will be useful. This is set action. So this will be useful to copy data from source to destination. So it can copy constant or page list. And next one is remove. So remove will be useful to remove page or properties from clipboard. So remove action will be useful to remove the page or property from the clipboard. For the remove action we don't require relational source because we are just near the target. So what page you want to remove? You want to remove customer or one property in the customer. So you can if you give the page name, entire page will be removed from the clipboard. If you give the property name, the property in the page will be removed. So remove will be used. You should use remove only. If you don't need that in the memory, you can remove that. Sometimes what we will do, we'll create some temporary pages for our logic purpose, for building the logic. Sometimes we'll give some temporary purpose. Don't use it permanently. So in that case, once the logic is over, then what you can do, you can remove those pages, temporary pages, whichever in the business logic. So for that purpose, if you want to remove the data or if you want to remove the page or property from the clipboard, from the memory, you can use remove. And then update page. So update page, as the name indicates, if you want to update the page level properties, let's say I want to update customer. I want to update the page. Page is a customer. I mean, customer is a page level property, right? You can update the page level properties. I mean, in the page we have properties again. So if you want to map the properties individually, like first name. So here, what you can do, let's say the data is available in some other page. The page may be anything. The page may be of same class. The page may be of different class. It won't bother about the. But I want to update this page. How do you want to update? That's up to you. You can take the values from some other page with if you want to take from some other page, not with the values from. But if you want to take from the same constant or something, you can use something like this as well. You can hard code it. Again, you can see you can use the same action set. So when you click update page again, you're just updating the page. Again, internally you can see we are using set action. Internally you can add any number of set action within the 3. So as part of 3, you are executing all these actions. So I want to update the page using the set action, and you can do this one. Again, set is fine, but update page will be useful to update the page level properties. You can update the page level using some constants, or else if the page, the source is available, and if you want to copy the data from some source to destination, but the source may be different, different class. Here, system won't bother about different classes or same class. Let's say I'm just product. This is of type STM. Data products, let's say I'm just giving. So let's say I'm just to showcase that I'm using, we don't copy from product to customer, but we can just to show we can copy from different page to different page. I'm using the product. So let's say this is a product. So the customer name for the customer first name, I want to copy the PYID. PYID to first name. I mean PY last name to last name to PY label. So here I'm using different class names. Different source is one class and destination is one class. System won't bother about what class you are doing. System bother just you need just the main purpose of this one is to update the page. Just this page is all available on the clipboard. When I'm updating from with values from, that means system assume that the page is available on the clipboard already. So the page is available, it will copy the data from PYID to first name. Thus it won't bother about what class it is. That is the main advantage here. So you can copy the data from one class to other class. System is not giving any error. System is not comparing the class names. Customer is customer class, but here this is a product different class. But you can copy the data. So update page will be useful to update the page from the primary page or some other page. It may be of same class, it may be of different class. Okay. So let's say I want to update here. I want to initialize the data, the values. Let's say initialize customer. So that means I want to give some sample data every time. No need to enter here. I want to initialize the before rendering the screen. I am doing like this, right? So I am updating the page. What page I am updating? Customer I am updating here. I want to give first name, last name, full name. So full name is don't need to give. You can calculate that one. You can see I am doing within the one only. Phone, email. So what I am doing, I am just hard coding the data here. John Brown test score user.
Subhash, below all set properties are belongs to the customer class, am I right?
Yes, because we are in the context of customer only. So this is, you see, I am in the 1.1.1. Okay.
Oh, okay, got it.
I am in the 1.1, that means I am in the context of customer. I am updating the customer, that means I need to go for the inner context only. But if you select the case, second option as a second, you can see you can collapse that one. This all are single one action only. I am doing one action, within the one action I am doing sub action, that is fine. But I am in the context of customer only.
Okay.
But if you want to do one action, one more action, you collapse this, and then add one more action, 2. 2 is coming. Now all the actions, all the properties will come from the work layer. You can see it is coming from work, and that means applies to class. Okay. The context is also important. So here I am getting what I am doing. I am just updating the page with some sample values. And I am calling it in the pre-processing. So what is the pre-processing means? Before rendering the screen, that means that I want to pre-populate the data. So I want to show some data on the UI. I mean by the time the screen renders. To do that, definitely I should do before rendering only. So but before rendering only, I am doing in the pre-processing. So now let me run the case once again. Now you can see whichever the data I have given. You can see John Brown is coming. How it is coming? Before rendering the screen only I am doing the logic so that the data will be available in the memory. So automatically the data will be displayed. That's how we can do. So now John Brown, these are all automatically coming. So that is called update. This is how you can do the update. This here I am hard coding the values, constant values. But if you want to copy, if you want to update the page from some other page, then you can use with the values from.
And one query here, our data transform name is initialize the customer, right?
Correct.
Can you go back and show me where we are referring exactly to populate in the page?
The pre-processing of the flow action.
The flow action of what this collect customer information in the page, right? Okay.
This is the flow action, right?
Flow action.
In the flow action we have a action. In the action we have pre-processing and post-processing. Pre-processing means before rendering the screen. Post-processing means after submitting the action. So already we are calculating the full name and submit it. But before rendering the screen, I want to initialize the custom some sample values. That is why I'm doing in the pre-processing only. Okay. And then apply data transform. If you want to call some other data transform, from this data transform, you can use apply data transform. You can see add to claim is coming. So whatever it may be, you can call that one in the same class, applies to class from the inherited classes. Sorting. If you want to do sorting, so we are doing some. If you want to sort the page list, we can use the sorting. So let's say I'm adding to claimed products is a sort. Some property. It may be price. Let's say already we are doing some pricing. So let's open that corresponding transform. So we have already add to claim we are doing, but once we add to the page list, I want to sort it based on some action. Sorting will be, as the name indicate, sorting will be useful to sort the page list based on some property. So once I append it, let's say I'm using sort, I'm using claimed products. So before doing this, let's see how it is adding, then we'll see one by one. Let's click submit. So here, let's say I'm selecting one product. So now this is 947, submit. So the pages will display in the same order. Oh, sorry. Edit. So it is 825, add to claim. So 825 is added. Let me give some more lesser value, 1. 347, it is already there. If you observe here, in whichever the order I am adding to the claim, in the same order is coming. So 825, 3147, 50. But I want to sort the page, this list, the highest price on the top and lowest price on the top. Okay, then how can we do that? So you can do sorting in the page list in the data transform. Use sort, and then use claimed products. So and then you can see get symbol is there to configure based on which property you want to sort. I want to sort based on the price and descending or ascending. Descending means highest on the top. Now let's do the same thing. So now if I add it one more, this is 316. I have to climb. Now you can see what is happening. 3613 is coming on the top, 3147, 825, 56 is coming highest on the top and lowest on the bottom. It's doing sorting, right? So for sorting, as the name indicates, sorting will be useful to sort the page list, straightforward. And then comment is something, so if you want to provide some comment for the action, you can use comments. The comment actions won't be executed in runtime. Just for it's just like a comment, as the name indicates. Comment will be useful to just give some proper description for the action you are doing below. So if the logic is complex and you want to explain, if you want to give some comment or some description for the comment, you can give comment. And then when, if you want to do conditionally executing, if you want to process conditionally, you can use when rule. So let's say based on some condition, so you are looping, based on some condition only, you want to do some action. So in this example, don't have any use case. You write a when rule. Based on the when rule, it's like condition. If it's like if else condition execution. If this is true, you want to do set of actions. Again, the action, you can use any number of actions again, but the when will be useful to check the condition. You can check the condition. If the condition is true, then the set of actions under 7 will be executed. So if you want to do else if condition, this is if condition, and if you want else if condition, then go for otherwise when. Sorry. If you want only, let's say this is if, and just you want else if, simple else if, then you can go for otherwise condition. Otherwise means if this is true, this will be executed. If for otherwise when, and then you can write one more otherwise. This is if, else if, and then else. If this is true, this will be executed, and these two will be skipped. And if this is true, okay, this will be skipped. If both are failing, then it will go for otherwise. It's just
can
like
we write multiple is kind of a multiple if else? Can we put it to one more otherwise when?
You can keep anything, any number of things you can keep. Okay. And then you can keep at the bottom.
Okay.
So else if you can keep any number of ones, but if and else if, so if you write if, you can write any number of else ifs again in the bottom. Okay, this is kind of conditional processing. So you can write some condition, based on some condition you want to do some actions. The actions can be anything again. You can see all the actions are available again. So you can do whatever the action you want to execute based on if the condition is true in the corresponding in the sub actions. And then append to. So as the name indicates, append to will be useful to append a page list. Append to a page list. Appending means, let's say I have a page list with the property with the clipboard. So this is a page list and 2 number of records. So page list generally will be used index number. Page list of 1, page list of 2, something like that we will use. So now if you use append to, what happens? It will append one more page. It will append to it will append at the end of the page list. If the 2 records are there, at the end it will add one more page. At the end it will add one more page, like page list 3, PL3 it will add. So that is called append to. Append to will add the one more page at the end of the page list. So what is the page? It may be a new page. You can see here the options is that maybe you can give the target here to which you want to append. The new page means it will add empty page of the products, the empty page of the climate. There won't be any data inside that one. Or else if you can give an existing page. So if the data, if the page is available already, that page you can give. Like already we have seen, we have already used, we did the same thing here, like product details. So I am copying the product details to climate products here. So remember, both things should be same. Both class target and source should be of same class. Otherwise, it cannot append. So you can see product details as a product class, climate product class is a product class. So we can append it. So you can append a single page, or you can append a new page, an empty page, and then you can also append the page list. So how the page list will be? You can give this is a target page list, and you can give source page list, something like this. Say, let's say, then what will happen? The page list B will be appended to page list A. So how many pages are there in the page list? Let's say there are 5 pages in the page list B, and there are 10 pages in the page list A. So after executing this step, what will happen? The page list B will remain same. The page list A it will become 15, because these 5 pages will be appended. So each page in the page list, each page in page list. So the page list, one page list can be appended to other page list by following this appended to, and then following the each page in. So in the add to climb we are doing the same thing. We are append to climb products. This is page list. All of this page is available on the clipboard. So I am just appending an existing page to page list. And then here what we are doing, if you observe here, I am appending the entire page. Let's say that the page having 100 properties. The page is having 100 properties. And then sometimes the page of the target and source also may not be of same type. Same type means may not be of same class. So in that case, you can go for append and map to. So append and map to will do the same thing. The only difference here is, while appending, whichever the properties you want to map, only those properties will be mapped. The advantage here is, whichever you have more control over here. Here you don't have control. You can directly append the page. You don't have control which properties is copied. Although you don't have any control here. Here you can do the same thing, but you can append whichever the properties you need. So I want to set, well it is a new page only, but I want to set one property, only one property, 100. Only one property will be set. So here from the existing page only, I don't want to copy all the details. I have all the details, like product details are there, let's say, but while appending, so now if I do the append to, what happens? Entire page will be copied. But here, whichever the properties you want to copy, those properties will be copied only. Other properties won't be copied. So you have more control over the properties. So here I want to copy only 2 properties, let's say, category and so now only these 2 will be displayed, only these 2 will be copied. Instead of copying the entire page, so whichever the properties you want to copy, only those 2 properties will be copied, rest of them will be ignored. That is one more advantage. And moreover, here the target may be a different class. The target may be a different class. It won't bother about the target in this case, because you are mapping anyway. So from this class, you are mapping this property to this property. So you can use this one. Let's say if customer list is there, but the property is not there, I guess. We don't have any other page list properties. So let's take customer list, customer property. So this is of type STM FW. Customer is a different class, but still you can do that one. So let's say education details is there, I guess. Education list. We don't copy education list product. Just show you that I'm just doing STM. I think already education list property is there. Let's see that. Yeah, education info is there. This is a page list basically. So I'm taking each page in from the education from the page list to here. So here what you can do, you are copying the data from institute name to for price I am copying. So from score to price I am copying. From category to institute name I am copying. So here the page name, the types are different. The types are different. So if even the types are different, if you want to copy the data for some reason, you can use append and map to. But append to should be of same class, and it will automatically append all the property, automatically copy all the properties. We don't have more control here. In append and map to, you can, it may be of same class, the support of same class may be of different class. You just copy the data from source to target. That is append and map to. And then for each page in. So for each page in will be useful to set the value, I mean to iterate the page list and set and do the action, whatever the action you want to do again. So I want to iterate the page list, primary products, and then I want to do some action. It may be any action. Let's say I want to increase the price by 100. For every project I want to increase by 100. So every time I want to increase by 100. Right? This one, not 100. Price plus 100. So while looping, so I'm iterating the page list on each page, whatever the action you want to do, you can do in the sub action 13.1. So for each page we'll do just to iterate. It will iterate the page. The first iteration, first page will be taken. Second iteration, second page will be taken. Like that, in each page, whatever the action you want to execute, you can do in the 13.1 onwards. The last two is for each page, exit for each. So generally we don't use exit for each as individual action. Some conditional only we will use. So while looping, I will use some action based on some condition. I want to exit the for each. Exit for each means I want to exit the looping. I want to exit the for each looping. So I am in the loop, and within the looping I am checking some conditions whether the product ID is same or not. Let's say product ID is some 1, 2, 3. The product ID is 1, 2, 3, then I want to exit the looping. So when I say exit the looping, it won't come out of the this step, this 13th step. So just exit that particular iteration. That means if we have three items in the page list. When the first iteration, if the product ID is 1, 2, 3, we are doing exit for it. That means that it will skip the first iteration, it will go for second iteration again. It won't execute the first iteration. It will go for second iteration again. So now it doesn't mean exit for it doesn't mean that we are coming out of the loop. And then last is exit transform. Generally this will also use based on some conditional processing only. But when you use exit transform, even if you have any actions below this, those things won't be executed. If the exit transform is executed, then the below actions won't be executed because we are terminating the transform there itself. So based on some condition only, with some condition before that we will use the exit data transform. Okay, that is about data transform actions. Any doubts here?
No, Subhash.
So then sort we have seen. Let me take this as screenshot. This is the actions we are doing. Okay, but again it will take some more time. So it's getting close. So for today we'll stop it here. Tomorrow we'll see. So we are adding anyway products to the claim. So we are adding products to the claim like this, and then I added 4 products. When I click submit, so 4 how many products I are adding to the claim? That many subcases needs to be created. That meaning if you add one subcase, I mean one product to the claim, one subcase will be created. If you add 2 products, 2 subcases will be created. We have 3 column, 3 products, 3 subcases will be created. Then how to create the subcases, and then we'll also see how to pass the data. So the subcase. So here I am collecting. I need to pass the product information as well as I need to pass the customer information. From this is the parent class, and the subcase will be created. How can we pass the data? That we will see tomorrow. Okay.
Subhash, I have a query actually. In the data transform, only copy the one class data to another class and copy from one page to another page or clipboard. But say while we are mapping, while we are mapping source to target, so if you wanted to get any additional values from any service, is it possible?
No.
Data transform?
Data transform will work once the data is available on the clipboard. Okay. So if the data is available in the memory, then whatever the business logic you want to do, you can build it. But it is not for getting the data from external source. So that you can use a lot of functions. I am showing some simple. If you want to build a complex logic, and if you are not able to build, you can use this expression builder. So here you can see a lot of functions are there. You can see built on math function. If you want to find some division, divide, exception, less than, you want to check some conditions. A lot of functions are available. Square root, square of something, and then you can maybe use some advanced. You can see datetime functions are there, string functions are there. If you want to take part of the string, you can use these strings, these functions. Okay. So based on the requirement, we need to use these functions, but you're just doing once the data is available only. So here first name is already available. That is why I can do something on that. The first name is not available. System won't give any errors. System won't. Here you won't get any value. You get empty value here. But system you cannot get the first name some other source. Some other source you cannot get it. So if you want to get, you can call the database here. So within the activity, within the data transform, you can call the data. The database, and you can get the data. But the data transform itself, you cannot use it for the getting the data. It's not meant for that. The purpose of this one is to do some business logic once the data is available.
Okay.
Okay. You can see current pages, custom page, data page. You can use anything here. So data, you can whatever if you want to call this product category, you can call it here.
Okay.
And let's say you want to copy the page. This is a page list property. This is a page list property. Right? And if you want to copy this page list property, you can use this one. You can just copy here and then use that to copy that to some other page, target page list. You can do that one. Okay. But that is already available. If it's not available, you cannot get the data from source, from service you cannot get it. So you can call service using database or call the service which is doing activity. Once that is executed and come to data transform and do the business logic. But it won't be useful to call the service or do something. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we'll wrap it for today and we'll see tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much, Subhash.